Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back again to another session of Speak Your Mind. Welcome back, guys. We're live and direct tonight. Tonight is, I think, June 14th. Is that right? June 14th? June 14th. Yeah, I think it's June 14th or 15th. But either way, we're live tonight, so welcome back. Last week we was out because we were taking part in the Twilight series down at the old recreational ground. So I know many of you would be happy to see some of those tapes when they're finally showed on TV. A week before that, I was in here because I was in Jazz on the Hill. My first time, I wanted to really experience Jazz on the Hill and see what it was about. And I tell you what, it was really, really good. You know, those guys did a wonderful job. So big up to all the people locally who were involved with Jazz on the Hill. So, tonight, you know, as usual, whenever I'm here, you know, we try to stimulate thoughts and generate good conversation. So, again, all those who are important in making decisions, you know, and the people who work for them, you know, they sit back, they listen, they tape the show, and they try to make sense out of what you're saying. Not what I am saying, but what you're saying. So, don't fail them, no. You know, they are listening, believe it or not. You know, a lot of you think sometimes your cry go unheard, but it doesn't. They are listening, they pay attention, and whenever you're asleep, they try to, you know, make a difference. They'll send the backhoe out, dig the hole, reroute the pipes, you know, and do all those things that are necessary. So, that's why I love about being in here every Saturday night whenever I can, is that I don't need to be a politician to have things, to get things done. You could just come here and say what needs to be done, put a little pressure on the decision makers, and things get done because, you know, they know it's right. You know it's right. They know it's right. So they make sure that they do what's right. So call your friends. Let them know that we are on. Speak Your Mind show is on live and direct tonight. If my eyes look a little lazy, it's because I'm still getting used to the light. Don't feel no way. You know what I mean? You can always call and tell me how, you know, handsome I look with my eyes looking this way. But either way, I'm here tonight, live and direct. All of you who, you know, again, thank you for the support, who continue to support and give good feedback on the show. And you know, those of you who think we're doing a really good, important job by bringing you the information and keeping a light on the topics that need to be lit. Every time we look around, we see a lot of things. And it's important, ladies and gentlemen, it's important that you air your views and your concerns. Don't wait till, you know, something hits you personally to voice your concern. A lot of us have that bad habit. You know, we see things happening in one community or one neighborhood, and we say, oh, okay, that's just there. It doesn't affect me. It's not going to affect me. They'll figure that out. That's what some of you say. And then all of a sudden it hits you, and then you want them, those same people, to listen to your cry. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have to support each other's effort. We got to support each other's conversation. We have to raise the concern for others when others are being affected. You can't just wait until it's your turn and then all of a sudden everybody's supposed to be on your side. Let's be on each other's side. So, call your friends, let them know that the Speak Your Mind show is on. I'm here, I'm live. I don't want to be up here as usual talking to myself. Right now I'm alone. So until Courtney comes in, I'm here. We're going to open up the phone line in a few minutes. I'm going to give you a few topics, food for thought. If you want to comment on those, I will put some questions out there. It's up to you. You know what I mean? So if you want to share your thoughts on anything I put out there, go ahead and do that. You know, so you know, let's get started. You know, this whole week has been like a roller coaster ride. You know, a lot of ups and downs, a lot of ins and outs. We had some really nice topics, a lot of things happening in the country. People are still wondering if we're going forward or going backward. You know, we've seen articles of corruption and people being misled and bad deals and people who don't have authority to offer directive or given directives. We hear about all kinds of stuff happening in the country. Some of those things were brought right here on this show. We didn't go anywhere. We brought it right here on this show. We talked about, you know, the process, you know, what made sense and what doesn't make sense. And a lot of things don't make sense if it doesn't include the people, if it doesn't include you and us, you and I, if it doesn't, you know, if we're not part of the conversation when plans are being made, then, you know, who are the politicians doing it for? That's the important part. You know, sometimes we hear talk of people say, even sometimes we say it. Sometimes you say it, sometimes I say it. Well, you know, we put them in charge to make the decision. True, true. In a democracy, those who are in charge, there are times when they must come to us for further decision making. And if they don't come to us, especially times when you talk about, you know, the country is going to be affected. The economy is going to be affected. The livelihood of our kids is going to be affected. Tourism going to be affected. Whatever it is, as long as it's going to affect a large number of people, majority of the people, then it should come to the people. No matter what, it should come to the people, and it should always be inclusive of the people. You know, there's this saying that government is the people, by the people, and for the people. Maybe that's true. Maybe that's true, you know, some time ago where people were really active. They weren't afraid of being victimized. They weren't afraid of speaking out. You had real strong opposition. You could make a difference in systems, in government. You know, no matter who was in, you have tools at your disposal where you could say, let's call for a referendum because it's law, it's there, and you get enough signature, you can change the course of things. Maybe we have that. I don't know in the BVI. For those of you who are smarter than I am when it comes to those things, do we have that kind of process in place where we can actually, you know, call and do what's needed as a people when we see things going wrong? But as far as I see it, you know, we wait every 4 years. People are afraid to get up and speak. And a lot of us who do speak, you know, we wait till when we see Sam or Courtney or somebody else on the side and we pick their brain and we say, listen, man, you know, blah, 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 blah. But ladies and gentlemen, if you don't represent, you know, it's like those people who run around talking about, I ain't voting. Well, guess what? If you don't vote, it is a vote. It's a no vote. A no vote is a vote. So don't believe the hype, think that because you don't go put an X, you're not responsible for the outcome. You are responsible for the outcome, even if you don't put an X. It's better to go put an X and make a statement than not to put an X and then, you know, be disgruntled and pointing fingers and say, well, you're not at fault. Well, guess what? You are at fault, even when you don't put that X. So don't believe the hype. So on the agenda tonight, I got a few things I just want to share with you guys tonight. Something that was in the house, and I thought, I listened to the whole conversation. I call it a conversation. It's never a debate for me, you know, between the whole thing about West End. We had a caller that called this show, several callers, and several times called this show and spoke about West End Police Station being closed. If you live in East End, or you live in Josephine Dyke, or you live in Cane Garden Bay, and you think that this doesn't have anything to do with you, you're fooling yourself. The West End Police Station is closed, and I'll tell you why it's so bad. You know, I heard the premier. You know, he gave a very responsible, smart, well-informed response to the question as to why and what is going to happen and when it's going to be reopened. But I want to share my thoughts on something. You know, I hear people talk about West End being one of the major port of entry for the BVI. So we're looking at tourism. We have between West End, Capons Bay, Carrot Bay, Apple Bay, the whole nine. We have a large community of people that need to be served. Now, imagine on a normal time when the police station is open, the response time is so slow. And it is. And I could say that loud and proud. Because I remember a situation where I've been right there in Smuggler's Cove. Call the West End police station for assistance because of situation on the beach. The call had to be routed at that time into Rotown to get satisfaction. And it took them an hour and 20-something minutes before police showed up at the beach. Now just imagine, no police available. And I'm sure the Premier said they're going to be patrol. But that, you know, there's countermeasures to that. If you're an organized criminal and you have access to some of the same technology the police have access to, and you know where they are, you know where to be to avoid them. So, Mr. Premier, I want you to think hard about what you said in the House. And you need to do whatever it takes. Whatever it takes to make sure the people of West End, Capons Bay, that whole nine, that whole corridor, get a station back down there going. You got a community center down there, close up, open it up. If there's a house down there to be rented, rent it. You got some trailers sitting down in front of the hospital still, I believe. I believe if they ain't there no more, wherever they are, if you haven't got rid of them, put 2 or 3 of them down in West End somewhere. Put some phones, some computers, put something down there so the police them could be in the area. You have older people who might know the number for the station, who might need assistance and have to be run around. You know, the minister or the representative for the area did a wonderful job, I think. I think he did a hell of a job putting forth a real viable argument. And he's right. Just imagine, we brag about West End being one of the biggest port of entry. I mean, and then you leave it open for the criminals? Come on, man. No, that don't make no sense. I want to get your feedback, ladies and gentlemen. I want to get your feedback because I'm telling you, that's a serious situation. And if you're over in Josephine Lake and you think, oh, no problem, you're in Anegada, no problem, you're in East End, no problem, these things are major concerns. They were put there for reasons, and they helped in those reasons. And now you take that away. Fire department closed in Capons Bay. I mean, you have to wait now for Rotown to dispatch a fire truck, and half the fire trucks are not even working. I mean, come on. What kind of progressive state we living in? What kind of progressive country we living in? I mean, we spending $10, $15, $20 million on trying to lower people here. And then what? We have the whole area where people are down there trying to enjoy themselves. You have a situation where they might need 911, and 911 has to be coming from Rotown or Cane Garden Bay. No, that's unacceptable. And the people, you need to rise up. Even if you don't live in the West End, you need to call and blow up the shows, man. Not just this one. You need to call the newspaper. You need to voice your concern because that's a major issue. It is major and it could affect you. And don't wait till when it affects you. Help your brother and your sister, your neighbor down on that side because it matters to all of us. Criminals are coming through there, and they're coming through there with ease. You're leaving us vulnerable. I mean, Mr. Premier, you got to do something about that. You got to do something about that. Divert some of that money you got in that savings. You know, if you have to, don't tell me about, you know, put money in protocol and savings and all this stuff, and you got people left open for criminal elements. You know, I didn't agree with the representative that we have a higher rate of crime or whatever terms he used, but there is crime. And if you don't have anything in place to prohibit the crime from, then crime will happen. So I don't care how many patrols you have. How many guys are driving between West End and, you know, there by the gas station over to Zion Hill? By the time they get over Zion Hill into Capoons Bay, the criminal just pulling in into the West End ferry dock. No, that's unacceptable. And then, you know, you're leaving people wide open. That's not right. So, ladies and gentlemen, when the phone line's open, man, call and blow it up. You know, stop this. Listen, this ain't no fight. This ain't no division fight. This is a fight for the people of the territory. Because, again, West End is being affected. No, what happened to you? And I could talk about East End as well. You know what I mean? Think about East End Long Look. East End Long Look is one of the biggest, largest community. Serving Trailers Bay, you have tourists in that area, and up to this day, we still don't have an ambulance or EMS station. I don't want to hear all this nonsense about I don't know what I'm talking about. We are at a point where if we didn't have them already, we should have them by now. We should have trained operators, EMS personnel, put an ambulance in the East End area, reopen a fire station. They got it all over the world. They got fire and EMS combined. If you don't have a training, why not? Why are we at this stage today still talking about training? Why are we at this stage today still talking about inadequacies? Why? It doesn't make any sense. So you got East End left open, fire trucks, ambulance got to come from Rotong to go serve. How many communities in the East? A lot. Trailers Bay, East End, Long Look, you know, up Bellevue, Mayors. I mean, all of those areas, part of the 7-8 district. I mean, that to me doesn't make any sense. So, it ain't just West End. It ain't just the police department or police station down there. You know? And I'm not just putting this towards the governor, the premier. I'm also putting it towards the governor. The governor is responsible for our national security. And the governor is getting ready to leave. And people need to know. They need to get out there. They need to voice their concerns so the governor can hear you loud and clear. I mean, there's no excuse for that. Whatever's going on with the West End Police Station, fine. If it's unsuitable for the officers to be in there, preparation should have been made. Not just this administration, the last administration as well. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't care which one we're in, which one is in now. The point is, it needs and should have been done. It should have been done before, and it needs to be done now. So I don't want to hear about who was in and... No, it doesn't matter. The point is, it needs to be done. So whatever needs to be, whatever needs to happen should happen. You know, again, there's a lot of options. You got empty trailers sitting around the country. We spent a lot of money to build a hospital, and we had these trailers down there sitting around doing nothing. Put some power in them. Put some of them down West End. You got a lot of empty slot right in front of the same police station. Put some of them on them slot. Put some as sleeping quarters if that's the case. They got homes in West End for rent. The same thing they did in Cane Garden Bay, you could do in West End. So don't leave the people them open like that. That's not right, ladies and gentlemen. It's not right. So please, don't call me right now. We're going to take a break first. We're going to take a break. When we come back from the break, I'm going to hit you one more thing before we go to break. But when we come back from the break, then you can we'll open up the line. But I want to put one more thing on the table. I got a few more, you know, but I'll put one more on the table. The premier said, I guess he was asked by some reporters about the high price of goods and service. This is always going to be a hot topic. And, you know, the premier, I'm trying. I know they're trying. The system is just stacked against us, ladies and gentlemen. And some of us going to still do what we got to do. If we got to run go St. Thomas, because we could see our ease down there, we're going to do it. And despite the high rate some of you used to be complaining about, the boat seems to be full still going to St. Thomas. So the government is looking for answers. If you have any answers at what they could do to help reduce the cost of goods and service in this country, call and let them know. They are listening. If they ain't listening, trust me, somebody that work for them is listening. And when they don't listen, they play back the tape. So we're going to take a quick break now. After the break, the phone lines will be open. So please, I don't want to be here by myself tonight. I need company. Call me, speak your mind. And again, it is open for whatever you want to talk about. If you got something on your mind, you want to talk about graduation, whatever it is. You want to talk about the roundabout, you know what I mean? You want to talk about the lights, whatever it is. Call and speak your mind. So we'll take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Say hello to the Digicel DL700, our newest best value Android smartphone with a 4-inch display, front-facing camera, and a 5-megapixel rear camera. It's perfect for snapping and sharing. Plus, it's super fast, so you can do more, play more, and share more. And choose to download from over 1 million apps available in the Google Play Store. The Digicel DL700, the latest addition to the Digicel Android smartphone range. Make the smart choice. Be extraordinary. Digicel.
Alright, so we're back, guys. So yeah, so again, if you want to call and hit me up on any of those things I just put out there, you know, the whole debate, conversation that took place in the House yesterday about West End Police Station being closed and what's going to happen with that down there. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, if you could find a better compelling argument as to why it should stay closed, and please share it, because I tell you what, again, if you think that, you know, it doesn't affect you, it affects you even if you live way up in East End, because, you know, if it's wide open, the border's wide open like that, or the citizens down there can't have access, or better access, let me just say that, better access to, you know, police departments in West End, then that's a major problem. That's a major concern to them, and it should be a major concern to you as well, because some of you might have family members living down there. You know, you might find yourself in a situation where you might be calling, you know, 911, and 911 is being dispatched out of Rotong. And would it get to you on time when they have to come from Cane Bay or maybe from Rotong? To me, that should be unacceptable. Also, the next thing I put out there, I want to get your feedback on it. The Premier is searching for you know, ways to help. You know, the government has put out a series of measures to help reduce the cost of doing business, so to speak, in this country, on goods and services, the food that we consume, the product that we buy. But it seems like it's not working. He was asked questions by some reporters, and one of the articles said, you know, he's struggling for answers. So I guess, you know, it's now up to you, the people, to offer some suggestions. Do you have any? If you have any, I ain't asking for no complaints. What I'm asking for, good ideas, good solution. I got an idea, you know. I got an idea. Is it a solution? I don't know. I'll share it with you real quick. You know, I think all of the things that the government has put in place, you know, giving some of the merchants all this exemption on different things coming in the country. I think those things are good. You know what, to me, the problem really is that there's really no consumer protection in place, and there's nobody who is actually saying that I have given you, you know, a reduction to do business, but you are not passing that on to the consumer, so there should be something in place. For example, like what they do in St. Thomas, right next door. Price on gasoline, for example. Let's just use it as an example. You know, the gasoline has a price. The merchants that sell the gasoline mark it up a certain percentage, but he has to mark it up based on the permission of the authorities. So if he's price gouging over a certain percent, he could be fined. So therefore, it allows the consumer to get a fair shake. You know what I'm saying? Can we do things like that here? I don't know. I'm asking you. You know, I don't have all answers, but that's my suggestion. My suggestion is that we should have some agency in place to help monitor and police that area. If the government is giving these businesses, you know, on all kind of tax exempts, you know, on food product, you know, then that saving should be passed on to the consumer. That's my take. But somebody has to enforce it. If nobody ain't enforcing it, who's going to tell Sam to reduce his price when everybody's bearing the cost? You know, if you're going to bear the cost and nobody in there to check and balance me, I'm going to rob you. I'm going to take it from you. I'm going to give you the highest price because, hey, I still got an excuse. You know, I'm still importing it. I have to pay all this to ship it in. I still have to, you know, even though I'm getting it at a really reasonable rate or price, I'm still saving money on shipping because I ship so much and I shipped in bulk. And even though I'm getting some kind of savings to government, if nobody ain't checking me, I'm going to still hit it. I'm going to hit you up anyhow. I'm still going to charge you what I want, you know, because there's nobody there to do checks and balance. That's the bottom line. I mean, that's my take on it. I don't know what yours is. So if you want to share that, share it with me. Before we go any further real quick, I just want to share a couple texts. I just got 3 little texts and I got some more waiting. So I'll get to those on the break. I like to read my texts. During the break, I like to write them down and you know, I don't like to sit and hold up the show trying to read the little prompt there on the thing. Somebody said, is anyone going to jail for the whole cruise ship debate? We have to wait and see. We have to wait and see. We don't know what the evidence are. I know the last debate before this one, one of the ministers, he pretty much debated by himself. And because at that time, we didn't have the final report. But now they say there's a final report. There's evidence to support the allegations. I don't think they're going to come out, or anybody going to come out like that and say, you know, I have evidence without having the evidence. You don't want to put yourself in that situation, you know. You're on Speak Your Mind. Go ahead, please. Hi, good evening.
Good afternoon.
Good evening. How are you? It's nighttime. You must be in a different part of the world.
That's really. That's really. I don't know if I know something around here. Now, they say you go green with all bad venting.
Talk a little louder for me, please.
Okay. They said go green with all the green bad venting, and they want to stop the plastic and things from blowing all over the place.
Uh-huh.
But when they're still selling these plastic at 15 cents, and they want to tell you know, not to use no plastic, give all kind of, but I still telling you if you want to buy plastic, you have to pay 15 cents for it. You think that's right?
Well, I tell you, I know when that whole story came out, one of the newspaper quoted that, said that one of the local supermarket made a lot of money off that. We tackle that same conversation on this show. In my opinion, you know, the good friends of mine, the people that are important in selling us these bags, if you really want to go green, stop bringing them in. If it's really going to damage the reef or the fish outside because people are dropping the plastic in the ocean or it's washing down whenever it rains, stop bringing them in. So, yeah, if you're going green, you gotta go green.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So maybe it was just a way to generate funds and it worked. But if they're serious about going green, that's where they're gonna go. You know what I mean? If not, then you and I are gonna be here again talking about this next week.
Yeah, but that's bad. If you settle for something, you have this thing out of it, and the DVA will be the first place to go green with, and no plastic and nothing, and still there, having it, selling it, that is not a good communication and thing with those supermarket, because they want them to buy a big bag. There is bag for $15 or $5 and thing. You buy any bag and still they're telling you now, they still have the plastic bag and they're not telling you, if you want plastic, you have to buy. I don't think it makes sense. That is written off.
Yeah. Yeah. It's you know, again, I agree with you. If you're really going green, go green. You know what I mean? But obviously that's not really the objectives. You know what I mean? The objective is people still want to use the bag. They got to pay 15 cents for it. It's a source of revenue earning for them.
Well, there's no sense that bring it in then.
I hear you. Start your petition. Start your petition. Challenge them. You know what I mean? Challenge them. I mean, we've seen a lot of new initiatives and measures coming out to help protect the environment. I support a lot of them. You know, I thought, okay, you know, at first, if the concept is really, again, to reduce plastic, there was conversation about the plastic, especially with the tourists and stuff. They get the plastic, they go on the boat. Sometimes the plastic are used for garbage, garbage bags. Sometimes the plastic get away in the ocean. Fishes are eating the plastic, and it's really destroying and stifling the life out there in the ocean. Then I thought the government would have just say, listen, you're not allowed to bring plastic bags in the country anymore. But that's not happening. So
I think that makes sense, because if you look along the road, you see all the plastic and then flying.
Yeah.
Another thing again, if they don't want to have this strict thing with garbage and thing on vehicle, and they have to stop people from things that they're going and listening. So much of garbage, and then just blowing off the people on the vehicle and thing.
Yeah, but you gotta blame the people for that one. You know, we got a lot of people. We got a lot of people don't want to smell their garbage inside their vehicle, which would be a good idea. So it'd be a constant reminder that you need to stop at the garbage can, instead of put it on top of the roof or something, and then you get involved with a conversation, you get a phone call. By the time you reach the tongue, you don't pass 10 garbage truck or garbage dump can, and you forget to get rid of your garbage because they already fell off anyway.
And that doesn't turn back. I mean, if they turn back and look and see look at them, and then try to, they don't want to be near the bad, you know, it's them garbage fall out. But it's looking because if the person are supposed to stand up in other countries. I see when I used to be in Bermuda, you cannot walk with a bottle inside of the road. Maybe if you buy a drink, a Guinness, a Hurricane, or whatever bottle, you can't walk with it inside the road empty, and you have to put that in a paper bag.
Paper bag, yeah.
To come out and think.
Well, still tuned. The Minister for Health, I think I saw another release saying that, you know, Little Warden will be back on stream, and all you little bugs, including myself, beware. You know what I mean? So let's see if that makes a difference.
All right, my brother. Continue with the program.
Yeah, man. Appreciate the call. Keep watching. If you have anything else to contribute, feel free.
Yeah, I will keep contacting you. Some things like this year, I will keep contacting you, so maybe the news can spread around.
All right.
All right, brother.
Yeah, man. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen. So that's gentlemen, you know, talking about litter. Some of us, yes, we do it. We put the garbage on top of a vehicle, and we forget to stop at a garbage truck, garbage dump, and it falls off, you know. I mean, so put it inside so you could smell it, and then you know for a fact you got to stop at a garbage can. So it'll help you. Call and leave me your comment. Let me know what's on your mind. Anybody going to jail for the cruise ship debacle? I don't know. We'll have to wait for the debate. We'll have to see if the governor actually do his job. You know, the PAC has called for the governor for investigation. That's the very next step. You know, if the claims are substantiated, then, you know, whatever comes after that comes after that. But the governor has to do his job. So maybe he's leaving now, and for him it's like, you know, why even get himself caught up? You know, but I know the governor's an action man. I mean, think about it. He's the only governor I know in recent years where we've seen, you know, tons of FBI and DEA came up here in the middle of the night to arrest 5 or 6 of our locals. He issued that warrant. So I know he's an action man. You want to speak your mind? Go ahead, please. Talk to me.
Good evening. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Yourself?
I'm great.
I want to ask a question concerning these 100 foreclosures that they did on the loan. And if they couldn't work it, if they were paying 1,000, couldn't they pay half? And instead of taking 100% or half a loan couldn't work? I don't understand that.
Okay, explain yourself and say it a little bit louder so other people can hear exactly what you're talking about.
Okay, I understand there's 100 foreclosures that the bank did on homes here in the British Virgin Islands.
Uh-huh.
So I'm trying to understand if they couldn't work with these different people to take half of the loan instead of just expecting the whole full payment.
Yeah, no, I understand. Well, if you were looking for a comment from me, all I could tell you is the banks in the BVI, especially the 4 commercial banks that are open to the general public, has no interest, in my opinion, in protecting and securing businesses and homes here in the BVI for those who own them. It's a money maker for them, and they're going to continue to make that money. And what's even more troubling is that, especially the 2 U.S. banks, there's a lot of stuff that they are doing right now in this country that they shouldn't be doing. So just imagine you're a BVI lender, don't have any connection to the U.S., but I guarantee you those 2 banks, wherever they're being mainly operated from, whether it's Puerto Rico or St. Thomas, have more information on you than you could imagine, simply because you have a loan and a mortgage with them. And remember now, they're taking all your money. They have all the authority, all the power to do whatever they want to do in relation to their money and your property, but they don't insure your money. And they will not insure your money. FDIC insured. They won't do it, but they could do everything else. They could take your house, take your land, take everything. But when it comes to your money being protected, so, you know, I would say we got to get on the ball, but even the politicians are complaining. So, I mean, if the politicians are complaining, we don't see any policies. You know, they're too busy doing other things. According to the Premier, when someone asked him about the, you know, the Freedom of Information Act, he said they've been very busy doing other things. And there's a lot of other things that the Premier and the government should be focusing on that are affecting the lives of people in this country. And you talking about 100 foreclosed homes. I don't know if that's factual. If you got some numbers to show, please send them, email them to me so we could post it online, because that's a lot.
I'm telling you, and a lot of these homes, like in the city, the homes are abandoned and people, I mean, I don't understand this. I can't understand this in the BVI. Have a good night.
You're well. Thank you for the call. Well, I just want to share with that call. I remember one of the young aspiring politician. He might be watching, or one of his guys might be watching. I remember when he was on the campaign trail. They talked about a land bank. You know, I hope they still have another year and 6 months, maybe a year and 8 months, depending on when election is called, to maybe start the ball on that one. You know, that would be great for a lot of BVI landers, especially young people who are trying to own their own homes and live the BVI dream, not the American dream, but the BVI dream, owning a home and doing all the things that you could do to help better yourself. So, Mr. Politician, you know who you are. You know, you spoke real strong about it. You know, it ain't something that you came up with. It was there before, we know. There was others. I remember things like that coming from other parties before. But no, you're in the driving seat. You have the wheel. So let's see. You know, I know you're busy. I know you guys are busy trying to bring the economy back, and you know, not that it wasn't steady, but you're trying to do what you're trying to do. But in the meantime, we gotta focus on these things that are affecting the lives of people. Because no matter how strong the economy is, if a man don't have a house to live in, he can't afford to pay his own mortgage because the bank is taking it, you know, and selling it on the market, worldwide market. Let's see what we could do to help the people. So, another text, guys. What happened to the debate? This is another cruise ship question. Well, the debate was stable. The information was stable, and you know, one of the opposition leader abstained from the debate. One motion to bring it to the House to debate yesterday, but it seems like it's a lot of information. It seems like it's a lot of information. It's going to take some time to really sit back and look at it and have the real answers, because this seems like it's something could affect the lives, the career of these guys, whoever name is being called. And the names are there. We could call their names now. Their names are in the paper. They're being accused of all kinds of things. The papers are alleging corruption, mismanagement, overstepping boundaries, all of these things. So let's speak your mind. Go ahead, please.
Yes.
Hi, good evening. Talk about a little bit louder for me.
Yes, I need to ask another question. I noticed here in the BVI, people are acting like there's no sexual transmitted diseases here. People are running around, and AIDS is all through the place. And every day you go to online, you find some new disease. People are running around like they're crazy. I don't know what's wrong with them. You know?
Is it on both sides, though, male and female?
Flesh will be rotting on the body while they walk. And they act like AIDS is not here, and these other transmitting diseases are not here. These people are crazy.
Yeah.
Have a good night.
All right, well, thanks. That's a concerned caller. If you're out there being promiscuous and doing all kind of crazy stuff, she said, you know, you need to stop. You need to stop. A lot of problems in the world right now with diseases and stuff. So get your act together. Call me, let me know what's on your mind. The phone line is open. There was another article in the paper recently with the Premier. I wanted to give the Premier a big shout out. Big shout out. Before the next call come in, I'm going to hit him up. You know, the Premier made some comments about cruise passengers. We're on cruise ship again. This is a hot topic. It's always going to be a hot topic until we get this thing out of the way. We build this cruise ship, and we build it so our people could make a lifetime out of it. Not be governed and managed by foreign investment when we have so much local investment that could put into this thing, and it'll be ours. That's the important thing. So the Premier said he recognized he recognized some of the information on the Florida Caribbean Cruise Association website, where they bragged and talk about, you know, they do a lot of studies on the people who go on their cruise ships. They do the studies, and the studies are there. You don't have to, if you're a member, the information is there. And they talked about people who, you know, how many percentage, whether it's 40, 50% of the people who go on cruise, most of them go on cruise because they're curious about the destination, because they want to make an informed decision. And some of them got money. Not all of them are hand to mouth. Some of them got money. Some of them just choose that way to travel and experience and explore. And he recognized that many of those people are potential customers. I know myself has been saying that for years. For years. So we want to find a way to capitalize on that concept. And I've been pitching ideas for years. I'm going to pitch them again because I'm a pitcher. I'll say to the Premier, the way we win with the cruise industry is A, we build our own dock and we control every avenue of it. Every avenue. Don't mind nobody with no foolish talk out there. You could do it, Mr. Premier. You're a smart guy. You got smart people in the Ministry of Finance. You got smart people behind you. Just make sure they do the right thing. You got them behind you. You can find a way to get that money together. Build your own dock. Build it for your people. You don't need no Burton agreement. Nonsense. You build an apartment building. You got who wants to come, can afford to come, they're going to come. This destination is one of the best sought after destinations. It's like a virgin destination. Everybody wants to get in. The way we win is that through our local ownership, people like myself and others who are there who do a good job, individuals who got businesses around the island, That experience is what makes people come back. Not the manufactured experience that you're trying to bring and others are trying to bring. No, you can't manufacture what's real. When a person come off a ship and he look at the health of the country, he look at these homes, he look at the roads, he look at how well the people conduct themselves, he look at whether the driver, whether it's a tour operator or an individual taxi operator, how informed he is, how happy he or she is to sell his country. When they get to the next place, whether it's a beach or a restaurant or just a corner to take a picture, how he feel about that point, whether he feel threatened. That experience is what makes people come back. Not somebody from Disney or NCL or Royal Caribbean trying to fix and organize like they do in Aruba to create this image. That's not what winning people over is. The real authentic experience. So build your dock. I'm glad you recognize that these people don't mind to talk about people from cruise ship only spending 50. We're going to get back to that in a minute. I'll hold you to it. You want to speak your mind? Go ahead, please.
Good night. How you doing, Sam?
I'm doing great. Now that you call.
We want to know, what do you think about Mr. Gaskin respond to the Auditor's General question on the Public Account Committee?
Say that one more time.
We want to know, what do you think about Mr. Gaskin respond to the Auditor's General questions on the Public Account Committee?
Oh! You want it on air? You want to hang up and listen?
No, because he said that she was incompetent to be an auditor, and he lied to the investment club. He lied about the investment club being a member of the TPP.
Well, I'll tell you something.
No, make me finish. As a senior civil servant, he knows he has to be truthful and forthcoming, especially with the PAC, because that's a constitutionally appointed committee, and he lied to them. He should be disciplined like just how them discipline Mr. Willock, because what Mr. Gaskin did is worse, and he did it to a constitutionally appointed body. That speaks volume.
Yeah.
So hang up and listen to what you are saying.
Well, thank you so much for the call. So I want to get back to the whole concept of creating that image in the passengers, the cruise passengers' mind. What makes them really want to come back to a territory? The BVI is one of the best. I don't care what nobody say. Think about it for a second. We're not knocking nobody else. Everybody have its own unique experience. Everybody, every other country have its own unique experience. But it's something special. All of them will say about the BVI when they come here. A, they've been to all those other destinations that have the fancy ports, that have the wonderful shops they saw in all the other ports. But then the real experience, they don't feel it. A, because they had to buy their trip on a ship. They had to be in an organized excursion. They went to a manufactured location. And when they got done, they said it was okay. That's not what makes them want to come back. You do the same thing when you travel. So why do you think others going to want to be handled that way? No. I'll get back to that later on. The governor is responsible for civil servant. That's the governor's job. He's the guy who has access to all kinds of people to investigate, to prosecute, to bring charges, to fire and hire. He's the guy who is top of it all. No matter all the other people in between. The governor is ultimately responsible. From what I understand, if I'm wrong, correct me. When Mr. Willock had his situation with the governor, it came as a result of a newspaper article. And the governor, being an action man, took action. Here we have an audit report that's generated by a government agency run by the governor, still have to answer to the governor. And now we have a PAC report. Governor supersede all of them, asking for an investigation. Let's see what the governor does. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back.
Say hello to the Digicel DL700, our newest best value Android smartphone with a 4-inch display, front-facing camera, and a 5-megapixel rear camera. It's perfect for snapping and sharing. Plus, it's super fast, so you can do more, play more, and share more. And choose to download from over 1 million apps available in the Google Play Store. The Digicel DL700, the latest addition to the Digicel Android smartphone range. Make the smart choice. Be extraordinary. Digicel.
All right, so welcome back. So yeah, I mean, bottom line, ladies and gentlemen, you know, we got some civil servants out there who do an excellent job. They do the best job according to their job description. And then we got some civil servants out here who believe that the country belongs to them. They believe that they could go wrong and misbehave and disrespect people no matter how they, you know, however they feel. They, you know, they have a standing order. The civil servant have a standing order, which is their Bible. It speaks about high-ranking civil servants that think they can and can't do. But yet some of them do contrary to that. And when you complain, some of the same people you complain them to are now some of the same people in the report complaining about them. When they had an opportunity to do something about them, they didn't do it. So, bottom line, civil servant belongs to the governor. Let the governor do his job. He's a good man. The governor is a good man. But the governor acts when he wants to act, it looks like. A report came in on Mr. Julian Willock, they say, alleged, by a newspaper. And that started everything. It was alleged. Ladies and gentlemen, it was alleged. The newspaper was something that helped started the whole investigation. That's Willock, you know, all them said it in their own paper. It came out in the court. And here we got, they say, alleged again, because the report, we haven't seen it yet. We haven't been able to read it. But it's alleged corruption, disrespect to Ms. Webster by senior civil servants who believe the country belongs to them. And we have the premier, who is also his boss, who's sitting back and saying, I support that action. That's the kind of behavior we want in this country. That's what we want to see. We want our children to see. No wonder the children doing what I'm doing. Whether them right or them wrong, no one of them slapping teachers, no. No wonder them behaving the way they're behaving in front of the school, in front of the High Court, in front of the legislature. They out there behaving. No wonder they have no respect, because we got people in government doing things that is completely wrong, and you think the children ain't seeing it and listening to it? Mr. Premier, set the example. You're a good man. Don't mind me sometimes a little hard on you. You're a good man. I know you're a good man. Do the right thing. Lead by example. Put the hammer down. Like one representative said, Mr. Premier built that cat. We ain't built no cat. He ain't no cat. He's a grown man who know better and should do better. I miss your call. Just call me back. Don't mind that call. Just call me back. So we got a couple texts. One of them I find to be a bit humorous. We said, somebody said something about the sea grapes and things over at Peter Island, and the manager is a bit harsh on them, and They have to have pass and all kinds of things. And they, last part of the comment, they said, he's one of the first black managers we have at Peter Island, and he's behaving in this manner. Let me tell you something. Get beyond that color thing. Just because he black don't mean he on your side. He got a job to do, and he going to do his job. He going to do his job to the best of his ability, because he's there to do a few things. Protect the company and make money for them. And if it means getting rid of some of you, he will. No, if he step over his bounds, you know, if he disrespect you, that's a different story. We could take that to a different conversation. But as far as anything that relates to Peter Island, owned by Peter Island, leave it alone, man. Leave it alone. Even if it's going to rot, leave it alone. You know, I know the manager of Peter Island. We've sat in rooms before. We have agreed on things and disagreed on things. But his job is to make money for the company he represents and protect that company. And of course, you're serving the tourists. So those tourists paying a lot of money for $75 buffet. So, you know, he wants to make sure maybe if they want to enjoy some sea grapes as well, the sea grapes will always be available. So leave the sea grapes alone. You know, don't take anything off the property. Leave it alone. Someone wrote and said they need to have a conversation with the Minister of Education about this extra year. Ladies and gentlemen, if you got children in school and you do not like the whole concept, you got several options. A, you could try it and see if it works for you. Or B, you could get a large number of people and get out there and make a lot of noise. It's your choice. If you make enough noise, the politician will take note, and trust me, you'll get some reaction and maybe some action. But you know what happened? Every private school, as far as I just read, rejected it. Every one of them. And it said somewhere in the article that the minister said it's not a mandatory thing. So, St. George's, Cedar, 7-Day, Montessori, you don't want to do it, whoever it is, you don't want to do it, no problem. Well, they made enough noise. You make noise. If you don't want it, make noise. It's your choice. If you don't think it's going to be good for your child, make noise. Personally, I don't see how it can hurt your child. I think it might be a good thing for your child, especially some of these kids I see coming out of school. They look so young. They could barely stand up. They're not speaking properly. Some of them can't read. Come on. If it's going to help, let's try it. Let's give it a little try. I mean, come on. It can't hurt. Is it really coming out your pocket? You know, it costs more to me to have these children out of school, these kids out of school, than it is to keep them in school. I mean, just look at just compare now. The month or two we're gonna have our kids out of school. Summer program, lunch 3 times a day. If them stay home, your grocery gone within 2 or 3 days. They're running more power on your home if they're home. They're watching TV all day. They're running water all day. To me, it's more of a cost to keep them home. And if they're underage, you either have to put them in daycare, some kind of extended school, or you have to find some kind of babysitter for them. Listen, if you could get them an extra year so they could be out of your hair, I personally would go for it. I mean, I don't see how it would hurt. If it's going to try to help some of them catch up, those who are behind, work with it. See what happened. Give it a try. At the end of that try, you would be the testimony to it. And you could share the experience with others who might be contemplating it. And then, who knows? The government might change next year. Might have a snap election. The government might change in 2 years. It might live out the term. And then the majority will have a say in the conversation. Yeah, and speak your mind. Go ahead, please. Hi, good evening.
Hi, good evening, Mr. Henry. How you doing?
I'm good. I can hear you, but I don't think the other people can hear you. Can you talk up just a little bit louder?
Hi. Just the matter of the sixth form, right?
And the what? Sixth form?
The sixth form,
okay,
or whatever we're going to call it.
Okay.
I was invited to a meeting, and it came up. And there's a lot of misinformation out there. I'm disappointed in our media, because our media is saying that the schools, like put up a stance against it. What the chairman of the school that I had the meeting with told us, the group of parents who asked about it, is they had a meeting with the minister, and they said, Minister, we understand that this year could be needed, could be beneficial, but we already have it. We don't have it in the high school. We have it in the lower level. So they're already doing an additional year. All of the private schools. That's what they told the minister. And the minister agreed to that. You already have the additional year. So the press is saying they reject it. They didn't reject it. They already have it. We're now catching up. So people need to really go and ask questions. The media is not giving all that information.
Yeah, so let's be clear.
This to advertise to get more kids.
Yes, what you're saying, just to be clear, that you're saying the private schools, the conversation they had with the minister, simply saying, we already have a 6 year.
No, not in what they're saying, they already have an extra year.
Okay.
Whether it's in the lower levels or whatever.
Higher.
But they have an extra year already.
Gotcha.
So if they introduce this would be an extra 2 years.
Gotcha.
You understand?
Yes.
Like I said, one school is using this to advertise. Because they tell you, parents are saying, hey, if the high school is the standard, and you're saying you're not doing an extra year, then, is your certificate worth the same as the high school, the public school?
Okay.
These are legitimate questions. People are just sitting down and going with their emotions. People need to go and ask questions.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Definitely.
Don't just read what you see. The press is doing what the press wants to do. They want hits. You understand what I'm saying?
They want readers.
It is a real serious issue. When you're dealing with your kids' education, this is serious. This isn't political jargon. This is serious. The private schools already have an extra year.
Gotcha.
And I agree with them.
Gotcha. Let me ask you a question. As far as the standard in the level of school, who should set the standard? Shouldn't it be the government, or should there be some? Who's responsible for that?
Personally, I think it should be the government.
Okay.
Right? And I want to applaud all of our education ministers. I think everybody's trying to do the best that they know. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And we as a community need to understand change is inevitable. People are just jumping on this thing. I went to the meeting for the additional year. Nobody came out. Everybody's sitting and criticizing. Nobody's asking.
That's
you know
right.
what I'm saying? I had a conversation with the college. The college have concerns. We are asking kids to learn what you learned in school, what I learned in school, what our forefathers learned in school. When you went to school, they weren't teaching IT, but they still teaching all the classes you teaching, plus IT, plus accounting, plus business.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And we want to do this in the same time period. And when we get more kids failing, we're then saying the system is failing.
Yeah.
We're asking our kids to learn more in less time.
Less time.
With more distractions, television, technology. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We need to be still. We need to really sit and think. Do I want what's best for my child, or do I want to get my child through a system free, whether they fail or pass, then dump them on society if you know that's society's problem. Find them a job. Send them to college. We don't want to take responsibility. We need to do the right thing for our children. So when you keep hearing anything in the press, they reject, it's wrong. People need to really sit down and think about their kids. That's all I got to say.
Yeah. Appreciate that call. Appreciate that call. If you have anything else to contribute, please call back. So, ladies and gentlemen, again, my support is that, I don't have a problem with it. Take it from me. I got a little boy, Nicholas. And I know his mom, she's big on education. Listen, if it's gonna help, give it a try. That's all I'm saying. We got a lot of our children, some of these children. You know something? Yesterday I was driving by with a colleague. We were driving by looking at some of the kids who got their stuff all painted up and stuff. And the person said something to me that, I see a lot of things, but I wasn't watching that. He said you could tell the kids them who got good grooming and homeschooling and also that extra, they take extra pride. He said, look at the kids them, this is just his opinion. I'm not saying he was right, but I'm just saying, this is his opinion. He said, look at some of the kids, look how raggedy some of them is. Yeah, they just graduate, they just finished school, but some of them, they mean graduate. But I'm taking part in the graduation festivities. He said, other kids, look at some of them kids, look how nice they are. Even though they might have a little design, they're still carrying themselves well. That's something to think about, you know. That really is something to think about, because when you see some of the kids them during school time, some of them walking down the street, the girls, some of them are well-groomed, well-organized. They look dressed, well-dressed. You know, you could take them from school in their school uniform and put them in a business, and they'll blend in because they look clean and professional, like they're ready. And then some of them, you see them like, no, I ain't bringing out one. No, I don't want them. Just for my parents alone. I mean, I saw 3 young men the other day, and I'm happy to see that the young men, I guess that's what it said, the young men them outnumbered the young ladies in graduation. That number is great. I think that's great. But young men, listen, man, we are the king. We the king of this jungle. We are the king of this jungle. You guys gonna have to take this thing over. First thing you gotta do is carry yourself better. I tired of saying, I pull up one of my friends son the other day. I asked him, if you really need me to buy you a belt, I'll buy you a belt. Stop this nonsense. There's a saying, if you're sagging, you're fagging. That's what they say in the States, in the jails and things. If your pants are sagging, that means you're on the other side. It's not cool. It don't look good. It don't carry you nowhere. So stop it, young men. Just the part, man. Just the part of success. Carry yourself well. Be ready for a challenge. You know, somebody could see you walking on the street. You're carrying yourself well. They could say, listen, young man, you're looking for a job? I have a nice, decent job for you, and it's worth it. So, listen, ladies and gentlemen, if you got a different take on the whole 6 year, you're worrying about the expense, you don't think it's a good idea, please share it. Just share it. Nobody here is criticizing you. Nobody here ain't criticizing the other side either who want it. We need to have a conversation. Let's have a conversation. So, I wide open. The phone lines are up there. If you want to call me and throw it out there. So, we hit the whole ongoing thing. I'll tell you why I'm so stuck on this crucial thing. The country needs to find ways to generate and stimulate the economy. We really do. I was reading something the other day about St. Kitts. And some of the things that St. Kitts are trying to help stimulate their economy. In addition to tourism, manufacturing, they're really pushing that. They're really pushing areas in fishing. You know, they just trying these things because they make sense. For us right now, the only 2 things we have working for us is the offshore business and tourism. And cruise ship play a vital role in that, ladies and gentlemen. And some of you better realize that if you haven't realized it yet. I mean, just look at how stagnant things are right now. We ain't got no more cruise ship. We had one in the other day, thank God for it. It brightened up the place. People were ecstatic. They said Virgin Gorda nearly sunk the other day. So many people wanted to go. The ferries, them couldn't carry all of them. Some booked excursion off the ship. Some walked down the street and did their own thing. Enjoying the real experience. Some of them come back and say, wow, this place is special. We're going to come back. We're hoping they come back. I got some ideas on how we could get them back, Mr. Premier. Please, call me. Yes, I know sometimes we have our differences. But I want to see this country prosper, and I want to see the people of this country prosper from whatever we decide to do. Because at the end of the day, when you look at places like and I'm not calling nobody down, I'm just looking at the facts. When you look at countries like Barbados and all these other places that have a lot of good foreign investment, when that foreign investment dries up and your local people are not the main players in the economy, it leaves a big void in the economy, and it's very hard to play catch up. We at a different stage right now. The people who start this thing way back in the 20s and 30s and 40s were on the right track. They were on the right track. Let's keep that going. Let's find ways every chance we get to include our own people in the growth and in the development. No matter how simple and small it seems. Because it's small today, could grow tomorrow. No. Mr. Premier, we got these people who want to come to our shores. Man, build your dock. Build your dock. We could do it. We could do it. With all these changes, we now know we can do it ourselves. We got enough locals here who want a piece of this thing. Give it to them. It belongs to them and their children, their grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. Open your doors like a shopping mall. You create your own shopping experience in shopping mall by encouraging people around the area to be a part of this thing. And then when you don't build your development, you build it in such a way that it definitely supports trickle down, trickle out, trickle up. And you put it in such a way that who want to come, just come. We're open. There's a slot. We already have 3. We don't need no more today. If we already have 2, we don't need no more today. Whatever your policies are, we can live with it as long as it's a long-term thing. That's what needs to happen. And when these people hit our shores, I heard you said, Mr. Premier, again, that the tourist board is gonna embark on cruise conversion program. I had the differences when I was sitting on the board before. With the people who are running the board, I thought they were also smart people. But I had a different take on this whole cruise conversion thing. It can't be a one-day thing. It can't be a 2-day thing. It's 365 days in a year. You got to find a way to constantly have the conversion program going, even when the people are in here. And I'll tell you how you could do that when we come back from the break. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Say hello to the Digicel DL700, our newest best value Android smartphone with a 4-inch display, front-facing camera, and a 5-megapixel rear camera. It's perfect for snapping and sharing. Plus, it's super fast, so you can do more, play more, and share more. And choose to download from over 1 million apps available in the Google Play Store. The Digicel DL700, the latest addition to the Digicel Android smartphone range. Make the smart choice. Be extraordinary. Digicel.
All right, welcome back, guys. Welcome back. We got about 20 or so minutes left, so if you want to get in on this conversation, you know, time always flies whenever you're having fun. Whenever I come up in here and I feel like I'm going to be by myself, I always say, man, am I going to be able to stimulate this conversation by myself tonight? And then, boom, time run out on me. So if you want to call, you know, like do it now. So I promise to share some ideas, Mr. Premier. Listen, let me tell you something real quick. Cruise conversion needs to be 365 days a year. 365. TripAdvisor has a proven method. If we don't know how to do it, just follow their lead. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. We got these people coming to our shores. We should control the flow of information coming to our shores. Every man that land here on a cruise ship, you put them in a database, you constantly bombard them, you categorize them, you organize them, and you need to organize an agency outside of the tourist board and DPU locally. Not a foreign company in the United States and Canada who going to be data mining for us. We could do that ourselves right here. It don't cost a lot of money. Let's do it right here. You collect that information for a year, 2 years. You got immigration cards sitting around for years now. Put them to use. Your cruise conversion program should be 365 days a year. You try that for a year and two and see what happens. You would have to start turning people away because you just created the own. You just did the things that needed to be done. All right? So, I'm always available. Mr. Premier, we have our differences, I know. But when it comes to tourism and keeping this country going, ain't nobody, I don't think, have it just as much at heart as I do. I want to see the BVI successful. It's a successful country already. But it's only successful because people are involved. And a lot of us are involved. And the minute you take that away from us, go to St. Thomas, go to St. Kitts, go to Dominica, go to all these, go to Antigua. But they don't have involvement of their people the way we do here. And that's the most important thing. You lose that, you lose the country. So don't lose it. So, real quick, text. Someone said that Minister for Education, they want you to put this 6 year in a primary school. I'm not sure how that's working out. Share, if you have information on that, share it. Exemption, someone was complaining about the exemption, brought something about exemption. They say exemption is indefinite, but yet Labor Department charges $75. Labor Department, if somebody out there watching, my good friend up in Virgin Gorda, Deputy Commissioner, give me a call on that. Let me know why is Labor charges $75 for exemption if the exemption is indefinite. Or does it not matter? Let us know what the story is on that. You want to speak your mind, please. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. What's going on?
I hear trying to live life good.
I have a hot topic, a hot burning thing on my mind.
Well, the show's called Speak Your Mind.
With all the changes we see coming with the cruise ship now, it seems like we're going to have our year-long tourism. That's what they say.
What?
Our year-long tourism from the cruise ship.
Okay.
But one of the things I want to say is, how do you see taxi men working together for the future? Do you see that? Or do you see that certain things ain't seem right? Or how do you see the future look for taxi men?
Well,
I go hang up and listen.
Okay. You have anything else you want to add though before you go?
No, man.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll hit that one first. If you have anything else, you can always call back. And the voice sounds familiar.
Yeah, man.
All right. All right. Well, listen. You know, our biggest problem in this country, right? I personally advocate for different things within the taxi structure. First, we need proper regulation. We got too much foolishness going on. We get a lot of taxi men getting too much blame for guys who are running bus shuttle and stopping in the middle of the traffic, but they driving a taxi. So definitely the person seeing that, looking at a taxi, they don't know if he's a legitimate taxi or not, whether he's working on the taxi. They don't care about that. They see taxi. It's giving the industry a bad name. So I support regulation. I support enforcement. We don't have it. We have different taxi organizations that should be governing themselves in such a manner that they should be lifting up the standard. If you have that within the industry, within each taxi association, then most likely you can have a merge. And you have a merge, not everybody coming together. You have a merge in ideas and philosophies. For example, one good example, I work out of Rotong. If I go Beef Island, why do I leave Beef Island empty if there's nothing else to go back to Rotong to, and the airport is empty? There's probably 2 or 3 taxi men in line. Why shouldn't I be allowed to go in the back of the rotation, that's working as a team, and helping the industry? Vice versa. You come Rotong if you're walking out of Beef Island, or you go West End. You get to West End, it's 9 o'clock in the morning, the boat just came in. Not all that taxi's gone. Go in the back of the rotation, serve the public. That's one good example. That's one good idea. With the cruise industry and how taxi men are fitting in, it's a whole nother can of worm. It's a whole nother can of worm. There's too much deception going on over there. I personally believe what needs to happen is our cruise ship port needs to be open and free to all those who would like to go to the cruise ship, no matter what taxi association you come from. The nice thing about the cruise ship is that when you go to the cruise ship port, it's not the best. There's room for improvement, but there's a umbrella of regulation that you have to follow. You gotta stand in line, you gotta wait your turn, you take the job that's given to you. Most time, again, it's not the best. There's room for improvement. We could complain about all different kind of things. If it run perfectly, every man could go there every day and make a decent living. The same kind of approach could be done in Beef Island, Rotown taxi stand, West End taxi stand, and so forth. Why do we do it and practice it at the cruise ship port, but we don't practice it elsewhere? So, the taxi industry plays, or the transportation industry plays a vital role in the cruise business, in the economy. We move people, and some of us, hopefully a lot of us, majority of us, move the people, not just for our own selfish need. We move people because we understand, yeah, we want to make a living. That's how we make a living. But we make a living based on what we say, what we do, how we do it, how we express ourselves, the kind of personality that we exhibit when we have people. That's what's selling the territory. That's what telling that guy, man, I could come back here and feel good about staying here. So now he done had enough of you. What he said to you next? What hotels do you have on the island? Where's the best place to stay for family? What kind of facilities do you offer? Some of us who are good at what we do, we open like the Welcome magazine in our head. We start talking about how great our sailing is. That's because we know our product. We talk about if you have a family and you love the secludedness of a villa. So we play that vital role. I see taxi playing a vital role in the whole development of tourism in the country, especially on the cruise ship dock. Only if we are part of the conversation, only if we are part of the development. If we are not part of that, you're going to have a lot of trouble in this country. So with that said, if you have anything else you want to add to that, call me back. There's a lot of things we got to think about, but Taximan has a lot of improvement for themselves to do, to go forward, to create a different image in the minds of the public. And we got some hard-working people out there. I got to give them a little credit. Sometimes we have differences in opinion. You know, we got Taxi Delivery Commissioner. We have the chairman of the board. You know, I mean, these guys are conscious people. Sometimes a little bit overreaching, I must say that. You know, sometimes a little overreaching. But I think if it's regulation, if it's down the line, everybody follow the same rule. These are the rules. When one man break it, you penalize him so the next man stay in line. Then everything will run smooth. You know, I mean, it's just like any well-run, organized place. You got a lot of places like that. New York, I always use New York as a good example. You know what I mean? You have a strong taxi delivery system in New York City. People violate that, you go in jail. You know, when you violate it to a certain degree, you go in jail, or B, you don't get a license back. And if you get caught, you know, operating without the proper credentials, yeah, they punish you again. So that's how I see it. We as long as we're part of the conversation, as long as we're part of the growth and the development, it's going to be good for us and it's good for everybody. And people need to understand that. When taxi does good, the rest of the industry that depend on us to move people to their facility do good as well. It's a team effort. So let's work together on that. All right, Carla, we got a few more minutes, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to get in on the conversation is good. We're talking about schools. We're talking about a 6 year. We're talking, and you know, while we're on it, I don't want to keep blowing his horn, but I want to give the Minister for Education a lot of props, man. You know, I think the Honorable Myron doing a really good job. I'll tell you why I say that. I listened to a speech he gave the other day, and I read it again the next day to make sure, and it was just a snippet of the speech. Somebody say you gotta be careful when you read these things out of the news media and so forth. But when it's good, it's good. And somebody mentioned something here in one of the texts saying, what does a young person have to do to get a job in his own country, especially in government? And I want to say to you, I hope you're still watching. The minister said something that you need to pay attention to. He said something to the effect that young people don't just think about getting a job. Think about being a job creator. Start developing the entrepreneurial spirit. Think about ways you can come up with the next big idea. We got a lot of people here in this country, a lot of our young people that are creative. So don't just graduate and say, I need a job now. Yeah, okay, you need employment, you need to get yourself going, but you're an energetic person, you got a lot of ideas, you're ready to go. Find ways to develop your concepts. Don't just sit back and give to somebody else and make somebody else rich. Become a job creator. Now, the only thing I'm going to say to the minister is that as much as I love the encouragement, and I really appreciate what he said, I said to the minister, and I say it here again, what's the most important thing about what you said that wasn't said that night is that a lot of our young people are so unhappy and they're so disconnected with the whole entrepreneurship thing is because there's no avenue for them to get what's needed. It always comes down to the same thing. A little money, let's be real. Mr. Minister and all the government ministers, we are pumping millions of dollars in all other areas of the economy. And those things are good. Those things are good. But if you want to stimulate the growth, the job creation in our young people, you have to find ways. And I ain't talking about just again and again. Intelligent people know what I'm talking about. You know, in America, they got all kinds of ways you can get finance. They got seed money. They got what they call grant money. Jamaica's launching a program now with, I think, with Lime. They did something with Mr. Branson. Who else? Others are doing these things. You got your young people here in the territory that have these ideas, but they don't know who to go to get the help to move it forward. So they fall back because there's so much time wasted trying to get what's needed. They don't have the support. What happened to our small business, Better Business Bureau people? Is it running? Is it running to the capacity that it needs to be running? Mr. Premier, get these things going. While the minister is talking about creating opportunities, the young people need a little help to get the opportunities going. Y'all speak your mind. Go ahead, please. Talk to me. Hello.
Sam, good night, man.
I can hear you, but you're whispering. You don't want nobody else recognize your voice?
No, man, no man like that.
All right, talk to me. What's going on?
Not much, man, but I've been sitting here and I hear made reference to this entrepreneurial spirit.
You hear what?
The entrepreneurial spirit.
Uh-huh.
And being an entrepreneur. And while I support that whole idea of being an entrepreneur, one of the things that's killing us, I don't know if you remember sometime in the 70s, when government erected that center down there called the Pangum Shopping Center.
Uh-huh.
That was done really to help entrepreneurs.
Yes.
A number of billionaires were able to own space in that place.
That's right.
No, that's an idea government need to take forward. We need a lot more of that.
Oh, yeah.
Anyone wants to be an entrepreneur right now, one of his biggest problems right now is finding a good, suitable location
to
for an affordable price.
Absolutely.
You hear that? An affordable price.
Absolutely.
Now, rent is a big thing in this country. It's killing you. So if you decide to be an entrepreneur and you need to go forward, one of the things you're going to need is an affordable space. And if it's not affordable, my friend, even with a little bit of money, they will provide for you. You're not going nowhere.
That's right.
So I am encouraging government to now go back to that drawing board where they decided almost 30 years ago to come up with that whole cargo shopping center concept of providing space for entrepreneurs to let's do it again.
But Carla, hold your thought. Let's just say, what about, you look at Skelton right there in Fish Bay. Perfect example. Affordable spaces, all sorts of businesses. Eastern people could do the same thing. Western people could do the same thing. You got big amount of land. Utilize your land. Create enough space so people can afford them. So I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. So I need you now, since I believe I know who this is, you know, to continue to bombard the ministers them. Because government can't do that by themselves. It will take some kind of act, some kind of process where government could come out and say to potential landowners, listen, if you create space in you have land in East End, we'll create some kind of tax exemption for your zone, like they do in New York. New York running a campaign right now. If you bring a business to New York, upstate New York, you're tax exempt for 10 years. 10 years your business is tax exempt, but the employees pay income tax. So the country, the state ain't losing, but the business aspect of it is doing well. And they bringing the business to New York, which brings jobs and opportunity for people. So I agree with you.
Well, I'm trying to appreciate the reason why I use the government concept, and simply because if you look at, let's say you look at the area down there at what is the name of the Craft Life?
Mm-hmm.
And you will recognize that all those persons that occupy Craft Life, they're paying a very small rent.
Yeah.
Anything to come on the government in that way,
yeah,
but it becomes affordable. It don't kill you. When you privatize it, you're better.
Yeah, absolutely.
So this is why I'm talking about the primary shopping center. I'm talking about Craft Life simply because there is always an affordable rent on the government.
But don't forget Prospect Reef. I added to what you're saying. Prospect Reef is another good example. The government owns it, and they have a few spaces down there right now that people are doing well because the rent is affordable. So you're absolutely right, Carla. I totally agree with you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, man. Appreciate the call. Ladies and gentlemen, I got like 3 minutes left to close this thing out. So for me, it's been good. It's been good. You know, I hate to say it, but usually when I'm here, I get hype. You know, I get by myself. I get hype. I get ready because I like to interact, man, because I know, and I always try to encourage you, myself, all of us to take part in a discussion. As simple as these discussions seems, people really want to know, the politicians really want to know what they could do to make things better. And I'm telling you, you know, I hear people all the time talk about, where you don't run, where you don't run. I don't need to run for office to try to affect change. And that's what people keep missing. Change comes from people being the examples in the change they want. You're advocating for change, be the example for the change. You know what I'm saying? And we'll get it done. So, with that said, it's been good. You know, every time I come up in here, it just, you know, I feel good. I feel good whenever I leave because I feel like we move to another step, another place. People do value the opinions that you share on the show. So keep sharing those values, you know, those opinions, you know, because that's how we all gonna learn and feed off each other. And don't mind the haters. Don't mind people who always try to condemn and bring down any kind of idea that's different from theirs. All ideas are good. If we have an open mind to anything and everything, we're gonna take a little bit from the right, a little bit from the left, and put it in the middle, and it gotta work for all of us because you got right and left. What's left? What's in the middle? The middle got to be the majority. So, with that said, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a pleasure. Stay tuned again for another Speak Your Mind. Hopefully next week we'll be here live and direct. You guys have a wonderful, wonderful rest of the weekend. Happy Father's Day to all the hard-working fathers out there. We don't get enough recognition, but fellas, before I leave, I got to say this. You know what makes a good father? Is somebody that pay attention to his family, his kids. Somebody that really give back to the community whenever they can, however they can. No matter how small it is. No matter what it is. It doesn't have to be nothing big. You don't have to make no big statement. You know, even if you're just sharing with somebody else, Charlie, if you don't got no kids of your own. That make you a good man. That make you a good man. So, happy Father's Day to all the men out there, good and bad, because you're still a father. And, you know, God bless. Stay tuned.